गुड मॉर्निंग एवरीवन, दिस इज हसन अख्तर निसार एंड आज का हमारा टॉपिक है इंटरव्यू टिप्स एंड ट्रिक्स. So we will be talking about what are the things necessary to prepare for an interview. What are the things that you need to pay attention to? But before that, let's first decide. आप में से वो तमाम लोग जिनको उम्मीद है कि उनका टेस्ट पास हो जाएगा, I would recommend them कि वो ज़रूर इंटरव्यू की तैयारी करें. बट दोज ऑफ यू हु आर नॉट श्योर और हु आर श्योर कि उनका टेस्ट पास नहीं होगा, उनको चाहिए कि वो इंटरव्यू की तैयारी के लिए वक्त ज़ाया ना करें और अगली किसी पोस्ट की तैयारी के लिए अपनी कोशिशें जारी रखें. अब होता क्या है कि अगले संडे को फिर से कोई नई पोस्ट आ जाएंगी, उससे अगले संडे को फिर से कुछ नई पोस्ट्स आ जाएंगी. तो आप अपना जनरल नॉलेज तैयार रखें ताकि जब भी नेक्स्ट कोई सीटें आएँ तो आप उसकी तैयारी कर सकें. अगर आपको ये यकीन है कि ये जॉब आपके लिए नहीं है, बिकॉज ऑब्वियसली यू नो कि इसमें बहुत ज़्यादा कंपटीशन था, बहुत ज़्यादा लोगों ने अप्लाई किया था और सीटें बहुत महदूद हैं. तो इसलिए अगर आपको यकीन है कि आपकी ये जॉब नहीं होगी या रिटन आपसे पास नहीं होगा या आपका मेरिट बहुत कम बन रहा है, तो आप अपना वक्त ज़ाया ना करें और अब अगली किसी जॉब की तैयारी जारी रखें. अब वापस आते हैं उन लोगों की तरफ जिनको पता है कि उनका जो रिटन टेस्ट है वो पास हो जाएगा. सो लेट्स सी what are the things that you need to pay attention to right now. Number one, remember that this is not the test of your knowledge. Interview is not the test of your knowledge. This is actually an inner view. Using the term of one of my colleague, Mr. Sharpen Ali, this is an inner view. They want to pierce through your soul. They want to know the real you. What are your thinkings? What is your attitude? What is your behavior? What kind of personality do you possess? So these are the things for which the interview is meant and not your knowledge. Remember that you have been chosen and selected out of somehow 30,000 people or maybe 40,000 people, and you who are chosen for the interview, you are out of those 40,000 people. So you are already chosen and selected one. They don't want to judge your knowledge. They don't want to judge your personality. And this is what you need to pay attention to. Interview is your personality. This is your attitude. This is your behavior and personality. So sharpen your personality. If you have time right now, pay attention to what kind of person you are. And personality is not one thing. This is a set of habits, okay? This is not one thing that makes the personality. All the set of your habits make up your personality. So you need to think about what kind of personality do you possess. You're going to be a 17th grade officer. Ask yourself, stand in front of the mirror and raise a question. Do you qualify for the 17th grade officer? If the answer comes no, then you need to rethink about this all. Number 3, sharpen your communication skills. Remember that they want you to speak fluent. They want you to speak in a good manner. They want you to be having good communication skill. If you cannot speak good, if you are not a good speaker, so you have these maybe 3 or 4 months until the result of the written test comes. You have 4 months, and in these 4 months you have the time to become a good speaker. By a speaker, I don't mean to say that you should be speaking English. Even if you speak Urdu, your Urdu should sound sweet and cute when you speak in front of the people. You are expected to leave them wanting more. Good communication, in other words, is good presentation. You have to present yourself in the most fantastic way. Okay? And for that, I would suggest to all those who are not good speakers, you can hire one person. You can hire a teacher, maybe a senior friend. You go to him and you request him, well, buddy, I have to be a good speaker now, so I want your time. And you you can pay him some 3,000, 4,000 a month, and in return for which ask him to speak English with you for the whole 1 hour or maybe 2 hours, so that you should practice it a lot. Becoming a good speaker, I would say, because I'm a teacher of the language, is a little difficult. Okay, now why it is difficult? Because we people normally we pay so much attention on the academics that we totally forget what a good communication is. Giving you one example from my class when I was at the campus, when I was a student at the campus. Well, this is the example of a girl who was giving a presentation there on the stage, and this is what she said. One sentence, okay? This is about Jane Austen's novel Pride and Prejudice, and she was on the stage and she was saying, "मार्च के महीने में ना मिस्टर बिंगले वापस गांव में आ गया." I'm sorry, but this is total rubbish. You are a girl. You need to understand what good communication is. Okay? So opening your mouth a little wide only makes you stupid and dumb. You need to understand, particularly when you're speaking English, that you're not expected to open your mouth very wide. Okay? English is spoken in a total different pattern. Okay? This is different from Urdu. When you're speaking English, you're not expected to open your mouth too wide. Okay? That's very important trait. Number 4, you need to pay attention to the current affairs, because they can ask you some questions regarding that. Okay? So for that, I would suggest that you read one newspaper, rather 2 newspapers, one Urdu and one in English, so that you should be aware of what's going on in the world nationally and internationally. Okay, they can ask a couple of questions on the current affairs, so you should prepare that. And you have to be confident when you go into the room for the interview. You need to be confident. Remember that you are already a chosen and selected one. Okay, out of 40,000 people, you are the one who has been called there. You are already halfway there. Remember John Keats, he said, "Well begun is half done." So it has begun well. It's already half done. Remain confident. This is the key to success. Number 5, choose one field. Particularly when you're going for the job of a teacher, you have to select one genre out of your whole thing. For example, if you have an MSc in zoology, so there is one thing that you have to be expert at. And when they ask you something like what is your favorite field, you can discuss that. And if you are a student of literature, so there is this one genre, like it can be novel or maybe drama or maybe poetry, or maybe one poet or one dramatist that you have prepared a lot and you are fully prepared for that. And when they ask you the questions like what is your favorite poet, and you can tell them that. Okay, so that you should be able to satisfy them in all perspectives. Number 6, handling a PPSC interview is not that easy. You have to remember that, and you have to be very conscious about it. Even if you have a lot of information, you have really great grip on your subject, you have to be cool and relaxed. Remember, what the PPSC panel wants is a sober and sophisticated person. If you show an attitude of being very hasty, or if you show an attitude of being very slow, both are negative things. You have to be patient. You have to be a balanced personality. Okay, like if you already know the answer to some question, like one of the person from the panel asks you a question and you know the answer, okay, and you start answering to that question before the question is actually finished, very bad thing. Okay, let him finish the question, take a couple of seconds to relax, gird up your loins, and then start answering. And remember, answer only what has been asked to you. For example, if they ask you when was Pakistan made, the answer is 14th of August 1947. That's it. There is absolutely no need to explain about all that dream of Allama Iqbal and then the Pakistan resolution and all that. You have to answer what they have asked for. Okay, remember when I was preparing for my interview and I went to this great teacher of mine, Dr. Mubashir Nadeem, my professor, a PhD, and I asked him, "Sir, I have been selected and there is my interview shortly. What do you suggest me to prepare? And he said two things. He said, Hassan, sit down. He offered me tea, and while I was taking my tea, he said, Hassan, remember one thing. You're my student and I know your talents. You are a very talented person. You have a good reading. Your grip is fine. But you won't express everything there. Okay? There is certainly no need to tell them that I know a lot. Whatever they ask, tell them that thing and nothing else. Number two, don't try to be over clever. This is very important. Okay? Never ever try to be over clever. Don't give them the expression that you are better than them. So be a balanced person. That's it. Now go. So remember, these were the only two tips that the great Dr. Mubashir Nadeem gave to me. And I think they were very positive and they helped me a lot. This one point which I would say you should prepare: the area you belong to. You should have a good grip on the knowledge regarding the area you belong to. For example, if some of you belong to Okada, so you should know what are the products of Okada. Like, this is a land of milk and maize and dairy and potato, So wherever you live, you should remember what are the special things of that area. They often ask such question. And lastly, very important, if you do not know the answer to some question, that's very natural, no problem. This is not the problem when you don't know the answer. The problem arises when you start behaving like a stupid person by answering what you don't know. If you don't know the answer of some question, simply say no. Okay? But in a polite and confident way, like this. I'm sorry, sir. I knew this, but I think it skipped my mind. Okay? Or, well, sir, I remember, sir, I read it somewhere, but I think my mind is not picking up right now. Well, I knew this once, sir, but I cannot remind. What is more important is the way you behave to them, is the way how you say no to some question. Okay? Even if you say no in a beautiful way and confidently to consecutively 4 or 5 questions, well, I know the people who passed the interview even in such a situation. And I can remember when I came back from my interview, the next day I was very tired and I slept. And the next morning when I got up, the first thing I did was to write down the whole thing. Whatever the questions the people asked me and the way I answered to these questions, I wrote it down all and it is saved in my laptop. Now, if you want that I should make an actual interview, a mock interview on whatever happened in my interview, let me know in the comment section. I will make a new video on my actual interview. Okay? And I'm wishing all the best to all of you who will pass the written test. Whatever help I can render, please let me know. That's it for today. This is Hassan Akhtar Nissar. See you next time.